Hello, everybody. This is some random Neko, waking up from her nap to greet the world for the day. And by greet, I mean binge watch the well-written and epically produced anime that's a global cultural phenomenon and still as amazing as I remember, Kimetsu no Yaiba, aka Demon Slayer, in preparation for the US release of the first film in the Final Battle Arc trilogy. For those of you who might have been unaware for the past 9 years, Demon Slayer follows Kamado Tanjiro, who has supported his family as a charcoal seller ever since the death of his father. Though living impoverished on a remote mountain, the Kamados enjoy a peaceful and happy life. One ordinary day, Tanjiro leaves to sell charcoal as usual. On his way back, night falls, forcing him to take shelter in the home of a villager who warns him of the existence of flesh-eating demons who roam during the night. When he finally returns home in the morning, he's met with the horrifying sight of his entire family slaughtered with only one survivor, his younger sister Nezuko, who's been turned into a bloodthirsty demon. After encountering Tomioka Giyu, who is swayed into sparing Nezuko's life, Tanjiro sets off on a journey to become a demon slayer and find a way to restore his sister's humanity. Now you might think with a premise such as this there'd be a heavy dose of tragedy, and you'd be right. However, while the world of Demon Slayer is full of tragedy, the story of Demon Slayer is a simple one that's full of heart as it follows the people who survived tragedies in order to fight against the ones who perpetrated. Specifically, it's a story about Tanjiro who's forced into the world of demons and demon slaying after the tragedy that took his family away and turned his younger sister into a demon. He's an empathetic and kind protagonist, but not to the point where he's naive about the cruelty of the world. There are some things he'll never forgive, but the core of who he is will never change. And his journey to save his sister and bring an end to the war against demons is divided into 6 major arcs that are amazing in their own way. The first arc is the Unwavering Resolve arc, which follows Tanjiro's first steps in becoming a demon slayer. It's here we meet the many characters who play a role in his journey and in the war at large. First is Nezuko, Tanjiro's sister who's turned into a demon. She's an anomaly who refuses to eat humans and fights alongside her brother to protect them. Everything Tanjiro does is for her, and the sibling relationship between them is wholesome and emotionally moving. Next are the other members of the fan-dubbed Kamaboko Squad, Agatsuma Zenitsu and Hashibara Inosuke, or as I like to affectionately call them, Dumb and Dumber. Their loud personalities will grate on you, but they soon prove themselves to be reliable friends to Tanjiro. Next are Tsuyuri Kanao and Shinazugawa Genya, fellow survivors of the final selection who are both closed off due to their respective apathy and guilt. While Genya doesn't play much of a role in this arc, Kanao becomes someone you can't help but root for as Tanjiro's influence encourages her to finally break free of her shell. Then there are the Hashira, the strongest demon slayers of the current generation. Urokodaki Sakonji, Tanjiro's mentor. The Butterfly Girls, who are the medical staff of the Corps. And Ubuyashiki Kagaya, the noble leader of the demon slaying corps. And finally, on the demon side of things, we have Kibutsuji Muzen, the main antagonist and progenitor of demonkind. Tamayo, a doctor searching for a way to destroy him. And Yushido, her devout assistant and the only demon not made from Muzen's blood. In addition, the arc takes its time building the world and showing that it's not only black and white, but also full of shades of gray, as the story balances hating the evil demons perpetuate with having empathy or sympathy for the humans they once were. It establishes the rules of demon slaying and demons with plenty of small details to add structure and expand upon it, such as Marechi blood, wisteria houses, and more. And it also sets the stakes which are so high you're left wondering how long it'll take Tanjiro to reach his goal, if he'll be able to reach it at all. But the arc paces its story beats well enough that he's able to make steady and believable progress in making the impossible possible. Now with the foundation solidly set, we move on to the Mugen Train arc where the Kamaboko Squad are sent to investigate the Mugen Train and defeat the demon infesting it with the help of Flame Hashira Rengoku Kyojuro. This arc is one full of emotional damage, and that's all because of the demon they face, Lower Moon 1 Enmu, and Rengoku himself. Enmu has the ability to send people to sleep and control their dreams. While the dreams Inosuke and Zenitsu experience are fun, the one Tanjiro has emphasizes the tragedy of that day, as we see how much he wishes to stay in that peaceful existence, but knows he can't as his family is gone and only Nezuko remains. As for Rengoku, you only get to know him in this arc, but his personality, presence, and heart are all so big you can't help being drawn in. His battle with Akaza is the highlight of this arc, as it showed what amazing conviction and strength of will, fueled by the responsibility that comes from having great strength, looked like. And when the arc comes to a close, you're attacked by onion-chopping ninjas as Tanjiro's declaration of Rengoku's victory and Rengoku encouraging Tanjiro to set his heart ablaze leave you feeling emotionally raw. Thankfully, the Entertainment District arc gives us a break as the Kamaboko squad recover from their ordeal before going on a mission to find out what happened to Sound Hashira Uzui Tengen's missing wives and defeat the demon they were searching for. The story for this arc is more substantial as the plot advances with the discovery of sun breathing, the origin of all breathing techniques. But the meat of the story comes from the battle against Upper Moon 6, which is a lesson on how to make an epically animated battle last over 7 episodes without it feeling like a Dragon Ball lightbulbs change joke. The arc accomplishes this by weaving together a narrative during the battle that encompasses character growth for Tanjiro and Nezuko, a gradual reveal of Uzui's backstory which makes you root for him to be able to live quietly with the people he cherishes, a parallel between Tanjiro and Nezuko and Gyutaro and Daki that further promotes the strength of Tanjiro and Nezuko's bond, and the tragic circumstances of Upper Moon 6, which makes their defeat and fate after death feel appropriately bittersweet. Then we're given another breather as the Kamaboko squad recovers yet again, before the story continues with the Swordsmith Village arc, where Tanjiro sets off to said village after Haga Nezuka refuses to make a new sword for him. There he encounters Mist Hashira Tokito Murichiro, Love Hashira Kanroji Mitsuri, and Genya before the infiltration of Upper Moon 4 and 5 has them teaming up to save the village from destruction. Through emotional storytelling during amazingly animated battles, which has become Demon Slayer's signature trademark, we learn about Mitsuri who didn't experience tragedy like other Slayers, but still could only find a place to belong among them, watch Murichiro regain his sense of identity that was lost with the death of his brother, learn what caused the fractured relationship between Genya and his brother, Wind Hashira Shinazugawa Sanemi, and uncover lore regarding the origins of sun breathing and Tanjiro's connection to its practitioner. However, the true highlight of this arc is actually its end. The final episode made me feel like I was getting yanked all over the place emotionally, and even after a miracle occurs, you don't get the chance to bask in it as it's quickly tainted by the reveal of Muzen's past and how the miracle allows him to finally achieve his ultimate goal. And with that, we begin the transition to the endgame through the Hashira training arc as the Hashira band together to train themselves and the rest of the Corps in preparation for the final battle against Muzen and the rest of demonkind. This entire arc is the calm before the storm, a light breather that allows us to see the Hashira interact with each other and lets Tanjiro bond with them and the lower ranks of the Corps. We also get to learn about the tragic loss Wada Hashira Tomioka Gyu lived through, as well as the bitter circumstances that led Stone Hashira Himejima Gyome to become a demon slayer. And we even gain some insight into Insect Hashira Kocho Shinobu's past, and another glimpse into the fractured brotherhood between Genya and Sanemi, as Tanjiro tries to help patch things up only to epically fail. Then the arc comes to an end as Muzen confronts Kagaya, and we finally learn why the Ubuyashiki family specifically has been fighting against Muzen all this time, before we conclude with an explosive finale. Finally, we enter the final battle arc as the battle against Muzen officially begins, and the war reaches its conclusion. The entire arc is filled with epic battle after epic battle. We have Akaza versus Tanjiro and Giyu, where we finally see Rengoku avenged. We have Doma versus Shinobu, Kanao, and Inosuke, where we learn the tragedy behind Shinobu's rage and Inosuke's past. We have Kokushibo versus Murichiro, Genya, Sanemi, and Himejima, where we witness a clash between the past that refuses to let go and the present that is always moving forward. We even have a battle between two disciples of the previous Thunder Hashira, Zenitsu and Kaigaku, where Zenitsu gets to prove he's not just an annoying supporting character, but a true demon slayer. And the final battle against Muzen kept me on the edge of my seat the entire time with all its emotional twists and turns. This entire arc was an amazing conclusion to an amazing story, with an epilogue that gives a satisfying end to the characters we've had the pleasure of following, as they finally get the peaceful life they fought so hard for, even though it came at a heavy cost. In regards to production, Demon Slayer is amazing in all ways. The character designs are all unique to the point where the final selection and Hashira meeting felt like that one joke where you guess who's the main character, but here you guess who's gonna matter in the plot. The demons are also appropriately otherworldly and grotesque, and I like how their abilities are influenced by their past as humans. And Nezuko is so cute and huggable in her must protect at all cost child form. As for the animation, it's truly a spectacle for the eyes as Ufotable blends 2D and 3D together in a manner that doesn't induce visual whiplash, but instead makes the cinematography uniquely dynamic and elevates the overall quality to higher levels. The battle sequences are amazing to see both visually and narratively, as they're especially unique in that they're a story being told with the backstory of characters blending in well with the action occurring. and in terms of quality, each arc always manages to one-up the previous one no matter what. In the Unwavering Resolve arc, the animation is just getting its footing with the blend of 2D and 3D, but it's still able to pull out the dynamic cinematography that brings to life the motionless manga panels. Episode 19 is where it gets its first chance to truly display its capabilities, with the perfectly combined visuals and narrative storytelling backed by an emotional soundtrack during a major battle. Then the Mugen Train arc elevated the one-on-one duel to great emotional effect, though the CGI tentacles were, really something. The Entertainment District arc is where the animation ascends to another level, as the 3D blends better with the 2D, giving us a battle sequence that's a visual spectacle worthy of praise. Then the quality improves yet again in the Swordsmith Village arc, as more moving parts are added with Tanjiro's upgraded sun breathing, Murichio's prodigious fighting with mist breathing, Mitsuri dancing around like a rhythmic gymnast with her love breathing, Genya using a freaking gun, and the unique abilities of Upper Moon 4 and 5 lending themselves to more creative battles. In the Hashira training arc, the quality is still high but doesn't get to flex until the end, with the slow-mo explosion and the sequence showing us the amazing animation feat that is the Infinity Castle. And just based on what's been released so far, the final Battle Arc trilogy films are guaranteed to be a visual spectacle and a historical feat of animation. The soundtrack is also amazing, hitting all the right emotions at all the right times, and adding emotional layers to battles that are already amazing to watch. The openings and endings of each arc are great in their own ways, with Lisa being the voice of Demon Slayer, with Aimer coming in at a close second for the Entertainment District arc. It was an interesting choice to have Man with a Mission and Millet collab for the Swordsmith Village arc, and My First Story and Hyde collab for the Hashira Training arc though. The songs were okay, but I honestly can't wait to hear Lisa and Aimer again for the final battle arc. The voice acting was also very much on point. While the English dub didn't really do it for me, the Japanese VAs knew the assignment and performed amazingly well in every way. However, despite how amazing Demon Slayer is in terms of story and production, it does have flaws that prevent it from being truly perfect. There's a major issue with pacing where it either moved too fast or took its sweet-ass time. This is especially evident in the manga, where the story sometimes jumps from panel to panel without much space to breathe, or drags its feet from chapter to chapter, making you wonder if it'll ever end. However, the anime does a pretty good job at fixing this by either filling in the gaps to let moments simmer where they should, or pick up the pace and smooth out transitions whenever it felt like there were too many cuts away to something else. But the one thing the anime couldn't really fix was the excessive amount of monologuing, especially in the beginning. While it does manage to work since the action doesn't stop, nor does the story pause just to allow the monologue to happen, it can occasionally test your patience. For example, did we really need to know Tanjiro's entire thought process while he tried to figure out how to fight a demon? And I just really wanted Enmu to shut up every time he showed up, because he talked way too much every single time. And there are also a few characters that get really irritating or you just outright hate, like Sanemi, Zenitsu, and Doma. I don't like Sanemi because he's an angry Pomeranian whose bite unfortunately matches his bark. I get irritated with Zenitsu because his entire shtick as a blubbering coward gets real old real fast. And Doma is the only demon I hate more than Muzan, as everything about him just gets on my nerves. One of the best moments in the entire series was when he finally got his comeuppance, and what a satisfying comeuppance it was. Overall, Kimetsu no Yaiba, aka Demon Slayer, gets an A for the manga, while the anime is an S-tier experience as it more than makes up for the manga's flaws. It has a great balance of drama and humor with plenty of moments to lighten the mood, as well as fun recurring jokes like Haganezuka wanting to constantly murder Tanjiro for losing or breaking his swords. The amazing story also doesn't shy away from the dark side of humanity, nor the sins demons commit, though it does have a habit of influencing you into empathizing or sympathizing for the demons the Slayers come to fight, but it balances it out by allowing you to still hate them and the evil they committed. The animation is an amazing visual experience and truly historical feat for the animation industry. The battles are all unique and amazing to watch, visually, narratively, and developmentally, with an amazing soundtrack that elevates it to another level, and backstory reveals that add great emotional depth. And while sure, Tanjiro and Nezuko have plot armor as shonen protagonists, they still have to work for it, bleed for it, suffer for it. It isn't just handed to them. Battles have weight, they have consequences, and not everyone comes out alive or alright. And while the manga is great, the anime does an amazing job of translating it into the animated format, able to fill in the gaps between panels that move at a quick pace, turn single pages into meaningful moments, and even adds scenes not in the manga but still fit perfectly into the story in order to expand the world and provide more insight into other characters. In conclusion, Demon Slayer is truly the closest thing to a perfect shonen that I've seen so far, and I invite you all to step into its world and see for yourself exactly why it's a global cultural phenomenon that persists even to this day. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Reminder that this is just my opinion, so you can take it with as many grains of salt as you want. I don't mind either way, and would love to hear your thoughts in the comment section down below. Please feel free to like, subscribe, and comment which anime you'd like me to give my 2 cents about next. This is some random Neko, going off to mentally and emotionally prepare myself for the Infinity Castle film coming soon to a theater near me. Don't forget to keep calm and just meow.